Hello, this is Robert, and this is the place where I put stuff that I think I'm going to use someday for some project. I've been collecting stuff for a really long time, and it all just kind of ends up in these bins. There is some usable stuff in there, but most of it really isn't. So I'm going to kind of consolidate this, but in doing so, what I want to do is convert this space into my new 3D printing station. I've been accumulating a lot of 3D printers, and they're kind of strewn all around, so I want them all in one central spot. I want all of my filament in one central spot, and I think this is the place. So the first thing I got to do is get these bins off of there and start rearranging the shelves. So let's do that. So at this point in the video, you might be wondering if you're just watching a video on YouTube of someone trying to monetize cleaning their garage, and you're not 100% wrong, but there will be some useful stuff in this video, I promise. I'm going to be doing some like LED lights and some other cool stuff, so stay tuned. But yeah, for right now, I'm basically just cleaning up my garage and you're watching it. So once I got everything cleaned up, it was time to rearrange these shelves. It's pretty easy to do, a little bit fiddly and time consuming, but just throw on some hearing protection, grab a dead blow, and go to town on it. These shelving units are really common. You can find them at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're like $300, and it basically gives you a 6-foot by 2-foot shelf area, which is pretty good sized. And so I'm just arranging it, so I'm gonna have like some 3D printers in the middle, some storage on the bottom, and then some storage up top. So these shelves are not the most fun to rearrange, but I think I have them the way that I want. As you can see, I've got the bamboo just kind of sitting here just so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. So this is going to be the main shelf where all the 3D printers are. Down below, this is all going to be filament storage. Down on the lowest level, that's going to be just kind of some additional storage. I think I found some bins that will fit nicely in there. And they've got a little bit of storage up top. I'm also kind of playing around with LED lighting. This is just kind of for testing. I'm going to have it kind of recessed and tucked inside, but kind of gives me an idea of how high I want this top to be. So the next step is I want to cut some shelves to put in here. I'm going to do this white melamine, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 2 4x8 sheets of 3/4 inch, but there's a little bit of trick with the 3/4 inch. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So let's get a little rambly and picky. This is a 3/4 inch piece of melamine plywood. I want the white surface. It's really nice to wipe down. It's bright, it's clean. I kind of want this. I could go with an MDF or plywood, but this is kind of what I'm looking for. Downsides to melamine is it never really leaves a nice clean cut edge. It kind of always chips out a little bit, as you see. And the problem with this 3/4, there's kind of this channel in this shelving unit, and it kind of sticks up quite a bit. It might be hard to see on camera, but this is a good 1/4 inch kind of above the surface that it sticks up, and I don't really like that. And we see this really ugly cut edge. This is just kind of a scrap piece. So what I end up doing is doing this. This is the same piece of wood, but I have a rabbet in the side. So I cut a rabbet down in it, and I have this black plastic channel left over from some other project, and I actually have a bunch of this, and I have it in 6-foot sections, which is exactly the length of this shelving unit. So it sits down a little bit in the channel. It sits almost flush with this top, and then this black edge kind of covers up that cut edge, and it looks a lot nicer. The downsides, when I slide stuff off of this, it's going to kind of catch that lip. I'm probably not going to be sliding stuff on an awful lot, and quite frankly, it's sitting up against this, so it's not really going to come off, and it sits on there pretty tight. So that's not going to be an issue. I do have a little bit less strength overall because I'm sitting on the lip, but there are some cross braces like this in the middle. Probably can't see that very well, but there's cross brace running right there. And the other nice benefit is this actually sits down a little bit, and with that rabbet, this actually now touches against that cross brace, so you get a lot more support in the middle. So I think this is going to be a nice solution. It's going to take a little bit more work to add this rabbet on the back side, but it'll be totally fine. So I'm going to go to the store, get a couple 4x8 sheets of plywood, cut them down, and we'll get the shelves installed. I don't have any footage of breaking down the 4x8 sheets, but I did take this one picture. I always forget just how early it gets dark in the winter, and I was basically doing this in pitch black. I had one of my video floodlights just kind of lighting it up, but I just set this down on the ground, use a piece of foam insulation on the underneath side, use the track saw, break it down nice and easy, and then I can set it up the next day when it's nice and bright, set this up in the front yard on some sawhorses and go to town with the router. I really underestimated just how messy this was going to be. Cutting these long 6-foot sections created just a horrendous amount of dust and chips. So I had to go back, get the face shield, get some better hearing protection, and just do it like that. I was just absolutely covered by the end of this. It created so much dust. The router had no issue with it. It was really, really easy to do. I was just using this big rabbiting bit. But yeah, it was really messy. Don't recommend it. Even though I'm a content creator, I also watch a lot of YouTube videos myself. And whenever I see these time-lapse videos, you get kind of lulled into this false sense of, oh, that would be so quick, I could bang this out in the weekend. But it always takes so much longer than what the YouTube project video is demonstrating. Setting up the sawhorses, bringing these shelves outside, dusting them off, getting the router, forgetting something, going back inside, cutting the 2 rabbits, bringing it inside, realizing it's filthy and you just spent, half of a day cleaning up that corner, wiping them down, rinsing and repeating for all the different shelves, realizing that you could have set the rabbit depth just a little bit more. So then you bring them back outside, repeat that whole process. These videos just don't really do a good representation of how long some of these things take. We're already like a day and a half into this video and we're sub 10 minutes. So, just take that into account whenever you're watching these YouTube videos. It never tells you the full story. I think it should actually be illegal to use stickers like this on finished goods. There were several stickers on each side of these things, and they're not the type of stickers that come off easily, so I had to soak them in Goo Gone and use a chisel. It made for a nice little section in this video, but it should be illegal. Initially, I put the shelves in place and then decided to add the edging later, and this was a big mistake. It was really hard to add the edging in place, so I took all the shelves out, moved them to the other side of the shop, stood them vertically, and then added the edging that way. And I will admit it, I absolutely love edging. I know it takes a little bit longer, but it's always worth it in the end. I know every time I end up edging, I'm always just so much more satisfied with the end result. So I think this was a really good idea, and I really like the way it turned out. The ends didn't really look quite right, not having anything on them, so I had some taller edging left over from that same project, so I added that onto the sides. It was a little tricky to get in there. I probably should have added that ahead of time as well, but I managed to kind of sneak everything in there, and that ended up turning out pretty good as well. So I finally got the shelves together and they look pretty good. I'm going to be sitting there wiping these off infinitely because there's always going to be some dust on them. But yeah, they fit really nice. It's really sturdy. This will hold printers just fine. And getting these tight was worth it. I know it was a real pain kind of trimming it down and, going back and forth on it. But getting these tight was really nice. This thing feels so much sturdier than it did before. And I had like 500 pounds on this and it still kind of wobbled a little bit, but having this pressing out into each one of the corners kind of keeps it from doing that, kind of keeps it from flexing. So it actually is a lot more sturdy. We'll see how this is with 3 Core XY printers on it printing fast, but it should probably be fine. I might eventually add some feet. Probably just going to shim the bottom of it, honestly, because I do want this thing to be as level as possible. So I'll go ahead and shim that. But yeah, I think we're pretty good. I'm going to end up doing lighting up there. I'm not really sure at what point I'll do that, probably next. So let's get some lights added to this. For here, I've got some cob LEDs. If you're not familiar with cob LEDs, it's kind of this continuous LED strip instead of individuals. I'll show you what that looks like. So yeah, and that kind of cool. It's just one continuous strip. There are little tiny LEDs in here, but when it lights up, it looks just like one little, almost like an electroluminescent strip or something like that. So I've got a kit there, power supply, all that good stuff. And then for holding it, I'm using these aluminum channels. I'll show you what these look like in a minute, but you basically take the strip, put it down inside the channel, and then the channel has a diffuser, and it just kind of mounts in. So it kind of looks like a nice finished solution. So let me open this up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here you've got the channels. It's kind of this, I think they call it a V channel, but the strip will sit inside this channel. And so when it sits underneath the shelf, this is going to be hard to see from this angle, but it kind of points down that way. Instead of going down or that way, it kind of goes at an angle. So I'll show you that when I actually install it. And then we have these little lenses that just kind of slide or snap in place. Nice little solution. So I'm going to get these cut, this installed, this wired, and then put up in the shelves. I'm not sure how much of this you really want to see, but it was pretty straightforward. Even though these shelves are 6 feet wide, it has that brace in the middle, so it kind of cuts it into 2 different sections, and I don't know, it was like 30 inches each, something like that. And each one of these aluminum strips is 1 meter or like 3.3 feet. So I just brought it over to the table saw, cut it down, and did it that way. It's pretty simple to use. I actually like this. I'll probably be using this a lot more. You basically just cut it down to size, put the strip inside. The strips are self-adhesive, so you just kind of press it down inside. It comes with all these nice little end caps and stuff, and I'll show the terminating of it here in a second. And then you just kind of put on the lens. It's a nice little system. It was a little bit fiddly, kind of soldering the connections on. I probably could have used more flexible wire too, but it was, yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. And I do like these cob LEDs. They're kind of a little bit higher quality than the standard LED strips, and it ends up being just this perfect, nice, continuous light bar. So I've got the LEDs all installed, one strip there, and as you can see right now, it looks absolutely hideous. We turn on the light, and it is nice. There's a lot of light inside of here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I might add like a second strip at the back, but yeah, I think this is pretty good. Have this nice little control there. I'm probably going to switch this over to the Shelly RGB controller. It's kind of like this IoT thing. It integrates in with my Home Assistant server, which I know sounds kind of weird, but if I'm in bed or inside somewhere, I can actually pull up my phone, pull up the video feed of any of these, turn on the light, get a good look, turn off the light. It's kind of nice to be able to control it remotely. So I might end up doing that, but I have the wiring for that, and I can just kind of tuck it up underneath there. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Lights are decent. So I think the only thing left is to get the XL moved over here and kind of clean this up, and I think we'll be done with this video. So I lied, I'm not going to put the XL on here just yet. As you know, there's always one rule in every workshop. If there is an open work surface, it's going to collect stuff. And so what I need to do is figure out some of the organization for like all the build plates. I have like 2 or 3 build plates for both the Bamboo and the Creality. So I need some kind of like storage system thing. I've got a lot of space kind of, you know, over here. So I'm going to figure something out for that. Also the lids, when you print PLA on these things, the lids should be off, so some kind of place to hold the lids. I gotta kind of figure that out. But I did add a couple little clever touches, which you'll see over here. I designed and 3D printed some holders for glue sticks and some flush cutters. They're really simple parts. This racking makes it really easy to add these little holders. It's just a little V groove that just kind of slides directly into the channel. And now I have my flush cutters and glue sticks right on the edge of the rack. So those are pretty fun. I want to add a couple more things, like I want to add some tweezers and I want to add some calipers maybe, but the cool thing about this shelving is you have all of these kind of attachment points. And that's why I really kind of liked this project, is I get to do all of these little accessories that just kind of clip on. Obviously this is steel, so I can do magnets. And the other nice thing, because it has magnets, that shower curtain video I did a week or so ago with the ASA printing, I can actually use that to attach a shower curtain over here. So once I get kind of everything a little bit more situated, the XL will go over here with the shower curtain and everything will be nice and closed in. But the next big step is this space down here. It's not going to be for the AMS just sitting there. It's just kind of temporary. But this is where the filament storage is going. And I know I've been kind of alluding to this in the ASA video. I alluded to a little bit, but I'm making this modular filament storage system. And that's where this is going to be. So I'm going to have about 124 rolls of filament, all nicely organized in drawers down here. So that's going to be the next step. Once that's done, then I can kind of finish this out. So as always, thanks for watching. Check out the links down below for any files and things like that related to this video, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.